I'm Marshall Pitts.
Module Pitts.
I'm Byron Pitts.
And we are
MP3.
Welcome to the MP3 Podcast Show. Glad to have you here today. We have a lot of interesting topics that we like to talk about. I'm Marshall. This is Module. This is Myron.
We've done all that already.
Yeah, I know we've done it. But I want to introduce the people. We're a fairly new show. And we want to
properly introduced.
No, we're not new. We're new to the podcast arena, but we're not new. We've been doing radio for a long time.
Okay.
Don't short us on our credibility.
Right. Let me say this. I'm really getting tired of you guys interrupting me when I'm doing stuff. So let's get that out there.
Just get it right to the public.
but we can move on.
Yeah.
And get into the topics for the day. Myron, what do you have?
Got some good ones. Always have some good ones, but we're going to talk first about.
If you say so yourself.
Yes. This season, the 250th anniversary of the United States founding.
You're going to get you one of those $250 Trump bills?
And I'm not going to get involved in anything involving him. But we're going to talk about how a lot of African Americans, according to recent polling, do not fly and will not fly the U.S. flag.
Only about 22%.
About 22%.
Think the flying flag.
We're going to get into that. Then we're going to talk about some of these U.S. Supreme Court decisions, particularly the one involving birthright citizenship, which is the idea that if you're born here, in almost all cases, most cases, you are a U.S. citizen. It was upheld by the Supreme Court, but barely. So we'll talk about the implications of that. And lastly, we're going to shift to sports, particularly the NBA. It's the off season now, but there's been some very interesting trades, a controversial one involving Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics. And the king is moving on. LeBron James has told the Lakers, don't worry about me, I'm headed someplace else.
They've told him that too.
Oh, you think it's mutual then? Okay.
Mutual parting of ways.
So we will talk about the implications of that and how the NBA is going to be looking for next season. So on this flag piece, fellas, so Marshall, you gave the stat out there about 22% of African Americans fly the flag.
Y'all guys fly flags, don't you?
Well, not 22% fly the flag, but 22% think the flag is a good thing to fly.
Okay,
right.
So even that 22% may not actually be flying the flag.
Correct.
And
I noticed both of y'all skipped over my question. Now, both of y'all fly flags?
No,
I don't.
No.
I don't have one actually.
I have one. The home we moved in when we bought our home in 2019. There's a flag pole and there's a flagpole holder, and they left the flag, and I put it in the garage after that. There was certain occasions I would fly like the 4th or like
Juneteenth.
Not really Juneteenth, not the American flag, because that didn't really free us, but certain occasions like Memorial Day or something like that. But then we got a visit from my mom one time, and she asked me why I was flying the flag. It was a holiday. And she was like, you're not military, So we live in a military town, for those who know, near Fort Bragg. So a lot of people fly for that. And then after my mom said that, and then with the outrages of this current Trump administration, I just stopped flying altogether.
So I just wonder,
Do you?
No.
No flag?
I don't own a flag.
Do you have one?
I don't own a flag or a flagpole.
Yeah.
So now I'm wondering, during all of this stuff that's going on, do we not fly the flag because of the current president? Because the flag doesn't represent the current president.
Represents the country.
Like Myron, you got on a flag like shirt right now, the patch on your shirt.
Well, yeah, this is the Ville. This is our minor league baseball team.
Yeah,
but
so
I got it because of the Ville. Though.
Yeah. But there's a flag on the sleeve.
Yeah, but they're playing up we are a military town.
Right. So I'm
designed decision, right?
Well, I think for most people, the flag creates African Americans mixed emotions.
Yeah.
I think a lot. A lot of opportunities for a lot of African Americans have done well in this country, but you can't forget the historical past and the atrocities that have occurred as it relates to African Americans and people of color in general in this country.
So does flying the flag mean that, though? That's the question.
Yeah.
That's the question we should ask ourselves. Does flying the flag mean the opportunities that we have here, or does it mean the negative past that African Americans, does flying that flag mean that? So I can tell you that in my neighborhood where I live, prior to our current president, there used to be quite a few flags.
Yeah.
There used to be quite a few flags, blacks and white people flying flags.
Right.
So Hispanic people too.
Right.
So, but now it's not as many.
Yeah.
Now, when I walk the neighborhood, ride through the neighborhood, whatever's going on now, I see very few flags on flagpoles flying now. Yeah. Now, of course, you're going to feel a few more
because of 4th of July.
Because of 4th of July. But you don't see not as many people are claiming to be patriotic, because now it seems like the flag can be controversial, whether you're for President Trump or against him.
That's right.
It can seem to be controversial.
And there have been stories about that in polling that shows that just people now see, not just black people, but a lot of Americans see the flag as a symbol that they're not wanting to be attached to right now. Right. So, but this quote by this professor, Matthew Delmont, who's an American history professor at Dartmouth, I think he kind of puts it well. He says, quote, "A lot of black Americans see the flag as a symbol of both inclusion and exclusion. Black Americans, more so than white Americans, also understand the flag can be used to justify a version of patriotism that is rooted in exclusion, with the flag being used to say, quote, you don't belong here." And I think that is definitely true. And I think that also accounts for why fewer people are flying the flag, whatever race right now, because we're also in a time of a very anti-immigrant sentiment. The enforcement of mass deportation is ramping up, like 1,000 a day. People are getting snatched out of their lives wherever they are, put in detention centers. And so when you see flag waving in service of activity like that, it just doesn't make people feel too great. And of course, black Americans, we know our history.
But this is the time of the year we should be flying the flag. You agree? If we're going to fly.
If you're going to fly it, correct.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree. But I used to sit in law school in class. And we go through all
You can remember that far back.
We could go through all these cases.
Sands of time.
Yeah. All these cases, and they're always making these quotes. When you're a lawyer, you always hear these quotes about the founding fathers intended this, or the founding fathers intended that with the Constitution and what have you. But you have to understand that the Constitution is a wonderful document. Our system of government is a wonderful system of government. But you can't say what they intend, because this all men are created equal. That's not really what they meant. Because when you think about it, if you were bringing them back right now into 2026, and they saw
they'd have a heart attack.
Women and African Americans
they'd have a heart attack.
They'd be like, what is going on?
Microphone.
Yeah. What is going on here? That's not what they intended.
Yeah.
It was only for a select group of people.
Land-owning white men.
Right. Yeah.
They could not have people eligible to vote.
There's no way they could have envisioned this America that we live in right now. Which brings me back to my point. Even though they couldn't have envisioned, look how far the rest of the country has come. Right. When it comes to black Americans and those type of things. So I would say that this is probably the perfect time.
Yeah.
Despite our current leadership and how we may or may not feel about him, this probably is the perfect time for us to be flying flags.
Well, this is the issue with that, though, is with the second part of what that Dartmouth professor said. People don't want to feel like if I fly a flag, it shows that I'm supporting what's going on right now. Right. And I do agree with you, like symbolically, we should be trying to reclaim the flag for what it initially meant. But, right now, I think, and that's why we see, I think, fewer people flying the flag. They might fly it otherwise, so but they don't want people to think that they're flag waving this mass deportation, not to mention the consolidated power under the president, which is looking very much like king-like at this point, like a monarch, like the kind of thing that the founders overthrew. Just to give some more numbers, though, before we move on, there is an age difference, too, in flying the flag. So
no doubt.
About 7 in 10 Republicans and about 6 in 10 Americans 60 and older fly the flag, at least during holidays. About 6 in 10 Democrats and independents say they never fly the flag, and that includes 75%, 3/4 of Democrats under 45 never fly it. Oh, so wow. There's an age difference going on too.
There's a disconnect. Well, not disconnect. People on the younger ages, for whatever reason, don't think that's a thing.
Well, they're not thinking about the flag.
No, they're not. They're not. They're not thinking about the flag.
I think that's part of it, and some of them are thinking about it in a negative sense.
Right.
The question is, are we more at risk as a nation? I'll put it this way. Are we weaker as a nation if we are less patriotic?
Yes, we are. Mm-hmm. I mean, if everybody's not on a similar page as far as moving the country forward or what the benefits of the country are, then that becomes very disjointed as a people. And so, no, you're not moving at least in a general direction together. Which
was the last time, though? When was it? And that's a good point. So when was the last time we were all together?
I can tell you that right away.
Who was that?
9/11.
9/11. Right after the 9/11 bombing, that was the most unity I've seen in the United States. Now, even then, there was a little bit of a blip because there was some anti-Muslim sentiment.
That was the most unit because you're right, unified because we were attacked and all that kind of stuff. But we didn't know it until later. But we were pretty unified with the election of Barack Obama. We had a lot. We had 40%. Remember now, 40% of the white race voted for Barack Obama.
He got 43%, which matched Bill Clinton's best number.
Right.
That's pretty unified.
Right.
But the ones that didn't vote for him hated him with a burning hate from hate.
We didn't know that. But we didn't. But at that time,
and they were very vocal.
But at that time, we didn't know that until later on.
We didn't know what?
We didn't know that
it was kind of
we did not hear that hatred for Obama right away. We did not hear that.
I think we did from some. Because you remember
because a lot of people woke up the next day like, what just happened? They were in shock. First of all, that was a shock period.
It was
a shock period.
The silence you were hearing was shock.
Me too. I was shocked too. I'll be honest with you, I was shocked. I was shocked both times.
Yeah.
2008 and 2012. So I mean, but what I'm saying is that with that hatred that they felt at that point about that election. That came out much later on down the road. We didn't know that from day one.
I don't know
about that hatred.
I don't know because I remember one of one of the signature negative quotes from that time was the late Rush Limbaugh said that I hope he fails.
Right.
I mean, I hadn't really heard that of a U.S. president before, and I've heard it all, and then he said that, and then Mitch McConnell, who's
going to do whatever he could to make sure that he was not successful.
Yeah, he said, he's going to do everything he could to make. So you're hearing already, shortly after the election, these thought leaders and politicians saying some unusually negative things about
State of the Union. For the first time I've seen a guy from South Carolina stood up and said, "You lied."
Got up and disrespected
all politicians.
What
about the normal folks? You talking about politicians?
Yeah, we're talking about politicians, right? Well, Rush Limbaugh, radio commentator, but in political.
Tea Party.
Then let's not forget the Tea Party formed probably within a year of President Obama's election.
Oh no, now, yeah. Within a year,
that was regular.
I will agree.
Yeah,
with year the wheels that fell off as far as this love.
There was a lot of optimism. I don't want to downplay that. It was a lot of optimism.
It was nowhere near close to 9/11. I agree with that.
Right.
Nowhere near. We were attacked and the country was unified. We want to get the person to attack. It took Obama to get the person to attack. We were attacked and then we went and attacked somebody who didn't have anything to do with it.
Right.
So we had all of that going on at that time. So again,
there were feelings that we might be in a post-racial. People kept talking about.
Yeah, there was a
lot of
positive.
optimism.
Even I'm sure for a fact that a lot of people that didn't even vote for President Obama still felt it was a step forward. But there was that core of people who just could not and cannot and will not accept a non-white man, a non-white person could be president.
The United States.
There was hatred from the beginning. They were shocked and repulsed by the whole thing, and it eventually morphed into Tea Party, then MAGA. Yeah.
And what did Rush call him? The magical Negro.
Magical Negro.
Yeah.
So, but again, I just think that I don't think the flag. Now, of course, you guys know I don't fly the flag.
Yeah.
But I don't really think the flag represents our current administration. I think the flag.
But a lot of people do, though.
Right. A lot of people do. But
Fair enough.
I think the flag.
That's kind of where I am.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't represent the current administration, but a lot of people do and won't fly it as a result of that.
All right.
So
we need to get on. Get on to the next.
Yes,
topic.
next topic here. Welcome back. We're talking about the U.S. Supreme Court decisions. They just ended their term and released publicly
Can we
the
do
decisions.
this right first? I'm Marshall Pitts.
I'm Module Pitts.
I'm Myron Pitts.
And we are MP3. I just get on the microphone and start talking.
Let's use this.
Welcome back and let's roll.
Yeah. So birthright citizenship was the big decision that the court, depending on how you looked at it and how I looked at it, it made the right decision, but barely. Birthright citizenship is from the Constitution. It's in the 14th Amendment. That amendment specifically was to make sure the enslaved and descendants of the enslaved, which is us, black folks,
Would have
could have
citizenship.
the rights, the same rights that other Americans had, and that we were always owed. But as part of that, it established the concept of birthright citizenship, which
You're
is to
born
say,
in the country,
if you're born here,
you're a
an
citizen.
American. And the exception was if, let's say, a diplomat or something was visiting here, like the UN or something, later on, what became the UN, and their child happened to be born here, they're a British citizen or whatever, they don't expect that person to be an American. That person is going to be British because that's where they're from. So that was the exception specifically carved out. And it's important to note that the founders, the people who wrote this document, this is post-Civil War, they could have written it so it did not allow for people born here to be Americans. So they specifically wanted it to.
I wonder why.
It's hard to say, actually. I would have to
Especially
go back
during
and look
that
at
period
it.
of time.
Well,
This was post-Civil War.
Yeah,
Right.
just during that
Right.
period of time.
Right.
during the I think it was
Because
during
if you really wanted to take away
Reconstruction period.
Yeah, if you really wanted to take
Reconstruction. During Reconstruction.
right, if you really want to take away a lot of the rights of the people, then you don't have the ones that were that they take away that birthright, and you take away the rights of a lot of folks.
You would. Yeah, a lot
And
of people.
it seems like during that period of time, they might have wanted to do that.
Well, the courts during that time were trying to be better.
Yeah.
They're trying to be more encompassing and include former slaves.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the whole point of it.
Yeah, but not just the courts, though. That was an act of Congress.
Right,
This is
right,
a
right,
law.
no, right,
Yeah,
right,
it was
right.
an amendment to the Constitution. So there was broad agreement on birthright citizenships. But the why is an interesting question, because I'd be curious to know. You would think they would be less tolerant than we are now. But I raise all
Which
that.
is hard to do. That would be hard to do. Be less tolerant than we are now.
I raise all that because it makes all the more curious the excuses by the justices that did vote against this, what their reasoning was. So it was a 6-3 vote on the specific issue, which was Donald Trump had an executive order that said we're basically canceling birthright citizenship.
Right.
So it was 6-3 against that. But it was only 5-4 against the constitutional grounds. Like, so Justice Kavanaugh had a separate opinion that said, well, I agree that he can't do this by executive order, but it can be changed. There's no necessarily constitutional right to birthright citizenship. So that even already since then, there have been Republicans in particular who put forward bills that would legislatively potentially get rid of birthright citizenship. So
it's
even though
very
this
hard.
ended one battle, it kind of started some other.
Well, what that lets me know is that it's very hard to change the Constitution.
Very hard.
Very hard, very hard.
So, because I know that would be the easier path, not the easier path, the more clear path. If
Yeah.
they change the Constitution,
Yeah.
amended the Constitution in this case, because that's what they do when they amended the Constitution to
Yeah.
make birthright citizenship no longer the law of the land.
Yeah.
So, do you think that's ever going to happen?
It's hard to say.
Well,
Now is the time if they're going to try to do
A
something
lot of
like
these
that.
decisions are being made now, kind of in a totalitarian fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Like this will always be the way it's going to be as far as who's in power. They're not thinking ahead as to, well, at some point there's going to be other types of presidents in power, other types of Congresses in power.
That's right.
And then then at that point you're on the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen. So it's just, to me, it's just very short-sighted. It's very here and now, because the demographics of the country, as we know, are changing drastically and quickly. And so this is kind of, in my opinion, that's the last.
It's going to be a while, though.
But we talked about attitudes. Well, you said it's worse now than it was back in no, it's not in the 1890s, because is not that bad. It's 1950s style where we are now, as far as attitudes and
that's a
you-
sad
you-
statement
right,
in itself.
which is what the whole theme was in Make America Great Again.
Are you sure?
It was really going back to a kind of a 1950s
Are you
kind
sure
of
though?
time frame where power in the country was concentrated in
Okay.
a certain group of folks.
So you saying it was worse then,
It was.
right?
Yes.
So could you pass birthright citizenship now?
You couldn't, but overall,
You could not.
but overall,
You're looking at one thing.
you have to look at the whole situation. 'Cause,
I'm looking at one thing because that's what we were talking about.
Well, okay, fair
enough. Birthright citizenship.
fair enough. We were talking
There's
about.
no way you could pass that.
We
now.
mentioned the Reconstruction
Right.
era, so the Reconstruction was incomplete. Some say it failed. I don't use that terminology. But one reason
It did fail.
But-
We didn't get our 50 acres on a mule.
Yeah, but
It
then
failed.
we got Fayetteville
It
State
failed.
and HBCUs. So there's
I
lots
want my
that
50
came
acres
out
on
of
a
it.
mule.
That's right.
We didn't get that.
Mule and Cula.
Yeah, but one reason it was
Oh, it's
incomplete.
40 acres on a mule.
40.
Yeah, I
You
done
want an
added
extra
10
10
acres. I done added
We
10
deserved
acres.
it though. Because there was a lot of discrimination post enslavement.
Right.
So give us 50 or 60 acres. But in any case, one reason that Reconstruction didn't work is that the South just ignored it.
Right.
And the federal government didn't defend African Americans,
Well-
so the South just instituted segregation.
Well, in fact,
now
the
that's something
federal
that I don't
government-
think could happen now.
Federal government under the president at the time, they not only did they not do anything about it, they actually pulled the federal troops and
They
stuff
should.
out of the South.
Yeah, that's what because
To make it easier for these things to be implemented.
Right, so when
Rise
Lincoln-
of the Klan and all these.
when Lincoln got
segregation laws.
assassinated, his vice president, who he had made vice president in a compromise
Right.
to help win the South, that guy's totally pro-rebel. Johnson, Andrew.
So
Johnson.
you're saying that this era is about like the 1950s or 1960s?
That's where
No,
they-
not
that's
60s, not 60s, 50s.
the start of the 60s, maybe.
Yeah, 1950s.
Pre-Voting Rights Act 64, pre-Civil Rights Act 65.
Well, let's look at affirmative action done. Voting Rights Act gone. Working on birthright citizenship. It won't be long.
Civil Rights Act working on that.
So working on the civil rights action. So when I'm looking at
But
that,
that's all things that were not in place in the 1950s.
But they
That's right.
can't.
That's what I'm
in
saying.
this Reconstruction.
Right, right.
Okay.
That's where we go. We in the 50s.
One of y'all
now.
said the 60s though.
He said 60.
No, I didn't say the
Somebody
60s.
sprinkled in some 60s.
No,
Right,
I didn't.
So that's all I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah.
we're going in that direction. We're trending that way right now, at least for the next
We're going
couple
backwards.
years.
We're definitely going backwards. So before we leave the topic, we got to give a special note about Clarence Thomas.
Why?
Well, because he's the only African American justice, and we talked about this came out of the 14th Amendment, which gave equal protection to all of us, including Clarence Thomas.
Why is it
but-
like that?
Because
you would never know by the way he votes.
he seems to have forgotten.
You would never know, right? But he seems to have
He seems
forgotten.
to have forgotten.
And so he was one of the ones, him and Alito, and they usually vote blocks.
They block
So
step.
Alito
Lockstep.
is his new Scalia.
It used to be
Yeah,
Scalia.
it used to be
That's
Scalia,
his new
now it's
Scalia.
Alito.
Thomas needs
Alito.
someone to lean on. Is
That's
he
right.
talking now or not? He still
He
mumbles
is
the
talking.
word.
Yeah,
For
and
many
he's white.
years he never talked.
Yeah, he's white.
I wish he'd shut
being
up.
more
now.
involved.
Now you wish
Right.
he'd shut up.
Right.
Now
So
he's being
talks
more
on the
involved in
court.
writing opinions.
Yeah, more
and-
involved.
yeah,
he goes
yeah.
out public
Yeah,
appearances
yeah.
now. But his reasoning was that in voting against birthright citizenship, he claimed that the 14th Amendment applied strictly to formerly enslaved and their descendants. And that's what other conservatives are latching on to. But again, as we discussed, the framers of this could have closed that
Right,
door.
right.
They chose not only not to close it, but to make it pretty much as wide as
So
possible.
he put that to save himself. So he's saying that other African Americans are fine.
yeah,
Other
that's what he's
descendants
saying.
of slavery are fine.
Right.
Everyone else.
Right.
That's
Everyone
what he's
else,
going after.
No citizenship for you.
Right,
You came
right,
here and had
right.
a child. So that is going to be a developing battle politically,
Oh, my goodness,
and we
yes.
will see how it goes.
Right. But we have to get on out of here and go to the next situation. See you on the flip side.